How did each state trend between 1952 and 2024? That's what we're going to find out today. Last week, we took a look at the shifts or the swings in each state. Today, we'll compare those swings to the national popular vote swing, and that will get us the trend. If it's confusing, we'll break it all down in just a minute. And as always, there'll be a map with a chapter down below in the description. But first, let's real quick put up some background information. We've got 1952. It was a landslide win for Dwight Eisenhower. He was the first Republican elected since 1928. He got 442 electoral votes. He carried 39 states, and he got a big 55.2% of that national popular vote. This was his first of two consecutive wins against Adlai Stevenson for the Dems. He got 89 electoral votes out of 9 states, and that was worth 44.3%. And you can see the vast majority of that map is red. Then we've got the very familiar 24 stats here. We're not going to cover that. We see it in every video. So let's hop onto the spreadsheet. On the left, we've got the states. Then it's the 52 vote for Stevenson, then for Eisenhower. Then it's the 24 vote for Harris, then Trump. Then it's the margins, and each state shaded accordingly in 52. Then it's the same for 24. Then we've got the column from last week. These are the swings or the shifts in each state. That's just the difference between the two previous columns. Finally, we've got the trends. This will compare the swings in each state to the national popular vote, and that'll show us the trends. And the two columns at the right have shading. The darkest colors are 10 or more. The lightest are under 5%. So in order to get started, we've got to get our national baseline. In 1952, Adlai Stevenson got 44.3. Dwight Eisenhower won it with 55.2. In 24, Kamala Harris got 48.3. Donald Trump won it with 49.8. The margin for Eisenhower in 52 was 10.9. The margin for Trump in 24 was 1.5. That's simple math. 10.9 minus 1.5 comes out to a net swing of 9.4 toward the Dems. So any state that swung more than that is going to be a blue trend. Anything less than that or in the other direction is a red trend. So let's get into that first state. We've got Alabama up first. In 1952, that was one of the states that Adlai Stevenson won. He won it big with 64.6. Eisenhower was at 35. 7 decades later, Kamala Harris went down to 34.1. Trump went up to 64.6, the same percent as Stevenson. The margin for Stevenson in 52 was 29.6. The margin for Trump in 24 was 30.5. So it was almost a complete swap. That comes out to a total net swing of 60.1 toward the Republicans. And that was all in the opposite direction of how the country moved. They went 9.4 in the other direction. So that's 9.4 away from the Dems, another 60.1 toward the GOP. You combine those, you get a total red trend in Alabama of 69.5. And that's actually the highest trend out of all the states. In 52, there was no Alaska, no Hawaii, and no DC. In Arizona, that state swung 11.1 toward the Dems, and that was further to the left than the country. The difference there and the trend was another 1.7 bluer. Now let's rapid fire the rest of these states. Arkansas had a massive red trend of 52.1. Then we've got big blue trends in California at 24.5, Colorado 22.9, Connecticut 16.9, and Delaware 9.2. Then it was redder in Florida at 12.5, Georgia a big 51, and Idaho 14.9. In Illinois, that was Stevenson's home state, and it trended bluer by 11.4. Indiana was almost the same in the opposite direction at 11.2. Iowa was a little bluer at 5.6. Kansas more than twice that at 12.7. But it was super redder in Kentucky at an even 40, and Louisiana just under that at 37.2. Then it's more trends friendly toward the Dems. It's Maine at 29.8, Maryland 30.7, Massachusetts 24.5. Michigan had almost no trend whatsoever, just 0.6% in that direction. Minnesota was 10 times that at an even 6%. Then it's redder in Mississippi at a huge 53.1, Missouri 26.2, and Montana at 10%. Then it's back toward the left in Nebraska at 8.3, Nevada 10.4, New Hampshire 15.3, New Jersey 11.3, New Mexico 7.7, and New York 15. A lot redder in North Carolina at 20.4. Then it was a little bit toward the right in North Dakota at 3.3. Ohio about twice that at 6.8. And Oklahoma way more than that at 34.5. Oregon was bluer at 26.5. Pennsylvania redder at 5.3. Rhode Island bluer at 6.1. South Carolina redder at 28.6. Then in South Dakota, they had the smallest trend out of all the states. And they pretty much moved perfectly in line with the country. They swung the same 9.4 toward the Dems. So that comes out to 0, but if you break it down by the hundredths of a percent, it just barely went toward the Republicans. Then it was way redder in Tennessee at 38.8, Texas 16.7, and Utah 12.8. Vermont had the biggest blue trend out of all the states. It's coming in at a whopping 65.4. Virginia, same direction, but way less at 9.2. Washington was double that at 18.4. West Virginia hard toward the Republicans at 55.1. Wisconsin bluer at 12. And Wyoming was a lot redder at 29.6. So that's it. Those are all the states on all of the trends. Now let's take all this data. We'll put it on a map. Here it is. We've got similar shading. The darkest colors are at least 10%, but this time the lightest colors are under 1%. Those are the till margins. And there's two states. It's South Dakota and Michigan. Those two states were impressive because they moved the same as the country. And using the current electoral vote map at the top, states that went toward the Dems total 278. For the Republicans, it was a little less at 250. So what are the takeaways here? Well, we can see the Republicans dominated the South and some of the upper Great Plains. The Dems dominate the West Coast and Nevada, as well as the Northeast down to Virginia, plus a few lighter states from Arizona Northeast to Minnesota. When you go more than 70 years in politics, all the dynamics and the political ideologies are pretty much going to be completely different. Now, there's always exceptions, such as those states that barely moved at all. But most of these states moved hard to the left or hard to the right. Most of the map, but not all of it, looks like what we would recognize today. But of course, there's several exceptions. I think the lighter shades are probably what stands out the most. The three Rust Belt states all did completely different things. Wisconsin, clearly bluer. Michigan didn't move. Pennsylvania went toward the right. And for whatever reason, Nevada was way bluer, while Delaware and Rhode Island not as dark. But it's such a long time ago, it's hard to relate to the reasons for all these trends. That's an entirely different video. The main point of this is just to show you where the movement was and by how much. So these are the trends from 52 to 24. Let me know in the comments. What stands out to you with these trends? Is it Kansas? Maybe it's Florida. How do you think the candidates affected the movement in some of these states? And how about Eisenhower's landslide at 52? How does that compare to the win for Trump in 24? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.